This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
My father would womanize, he would drink, he would make outrageous claims like he invented the question mark. Sometimes he would accuse chestnuts of being lazy, the sort of general malaise that only the genius possess and the insane lament.
Live from Joe's mom's basement, it's the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and what are you wearing? You know, while I'm usually the fashion influencer around here, today we welcome a woman sharing fashion tips that won't blow your fall budget, and she'll be sharing her personal story of becoming the Hollywood stylist for the stars, Jen Principe. In our headlines, layoffs announced recently at many companies, including one of our favorites. What should you do if you're asked to pay a visit to HR? We'll share. Plus, we'll throw out the Haven Lifeline to Joe. No, not that Joe. But this Joe is trying to figure out how to downsize to just one big truck. And then I'll sashay my trivia down our catwalk between this table and the hot water heater over there. And now, 2 guys who aim to fashion you into a millionaire, Joe and O-G-G-G-G.
Hey, Stackers, and a happy Wednesday to you. Kick your feet up, maybe grab a cup of coffee, because you are in for a great hour of awesomeness. Edutainment. By the way, I said edutainment because I can't stand that word. People are like, "Oh, it's edutainment." No.
Nice.
It is not.
Wait a minute.
No, please.
Like Magic School Bus, Veggie Tales, that's all definitely edutainment.
If they don't have entertainment value, how many times have you seen just crappy shows just pushing themselves off as edutainment? Just no.
I don't watch.
See, it's a hybrid. Shows, so not going to do that. We got a great show today. We are definitely just entertaining today, and with a side helping of we're going to help you with your fall wardrobe. It's going to be great. Jen Principe, who is a celebrity fashion stylist. Duh. That's why she's here. Mom's basement with us.
Because we're celebrities.
Yeah, in a little bit. Maybe help us clean up a little bit. She also has a phenomenal memoir about her story. And if you think, by the way, that somebody who works with the stars and herself is a star that's been seen all over television, you know what? She had a tough life growing up that I think for a lot of people be inspirational. If your life is not, quote, perfect, you too can still do what you want to do. But before that, Doug, as you mentioned, we've got a sad situation going on in America, lots of layoffs. So let's get the party started. The layoffs. So let's do it. Wow. I just got to take that back. Can we back that truck up? Yes. Before we talk about the sad state of layoffs. Well, there's nothing that relieves stress more when you have had a long day, you are completely fried, and you're thinking to yourself, maybe I'll just go out to dinner. But then you think about all those calories, all that money out of your wallet, and then you realize that you can eat healthy because you found Factor. Factor is ready in 2 minutes. Factor shops, preps, cooks, and delivers straight to your door, so you have more time for everything you love this spring, and you don't have to worry about eating healthy and going outside your budget because you've got the food sitting there in the fridge that you had pre-planned. What is Factor? Well, Factor has meals built around your goals, whether that's weight loss, overall nutrition, more protein, or GLP-1 support for strength and workout recovery. Check out Factor's Muscle Pro collection. Every meal's crafted with functional ingredients, lean proteins, colorful veggies, whole foods, and healthy fats. Factor bans 175 plus ingredients, no artificial colors or sweeteners, no high fructose corn syrup, no refined seed oils, just nutrient-dense foods. It's fresh, never frozen, over 100 rotating weekly meals, including globally inspired flavors like Mediterranean and Asian. So there's always something new to look forward to. I use Factor. I think you're going to love it too. Head to factormeals.com/SB50off, stackers, and use code SB50off, and you're going to get 50% off and free daily greens per box with new subscriptions only while supplies last until 9/27/2026. Well, running a small business, as you may know, like I do, it is super fun, but it can also be very tough. And when it's time to get a loan, it can feel impossible to find the lender that you actually trust. Big banks say no. The internet, well, that's full of sketchy offers with sky-high rates and fine print you can barely read. Whether you need help covering payroll, managing cash flow, or investing in growth, you deserve better. And that's why I recommend the small business marketplace Fundera, which is powered by NerdWallet. It's a free, easy-to-use platform. It lets you compare real financing offers from trusted lenders, and it's all in one place. And what I like is that you don't need perfect credit to get started. There's no spam. There's no bait and switch. Just personalized options that fit your business needs. Nothing I like better than a place that treats me the way that they would want to be treated. Using Fundera is a super way to quickly compare options and make your best funding move the way any great business owner would. Here's the best part, though. For a limited time, when you visit nerdwallet.com/SB and fill out the no obligation form, you're going to get VIP treatment and talk with a real person who knows all the ins and outs of small business lending. And you can tell them specifically what you're looking for. They can tell you specifically which options you should probably consider most. Don't risk your business on unreliable lenders. Go to nerdwallet.com/SB to learn more and find the funding you deserve. Fundera Inc., NMLS ID number 1240038. Now we can get moving.
Hello, darlings. And now it's time for your favorite part of the show, our Stacking Benjamin's headlines.
Well, I know, OG, that we have talked about this company a lot on this show, but still it is never a good day when you see people losing their jobs. Robinhood, a company we have not been much of a fan of, sadly, though, laying off 23% of its workforce, and the CEO admitted, this is on me, which I think everybody likes to see when a CEO goes, you know what?
I've made my billions. This is on me, guys. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad. I overshot the landing on that one.
But what is, maybe I'm jumping the gun here, and 23% is a big number, but my sense is that companies like Robinhood don't need a giant staff to run that company. So is that 23% like 80 people or 60 people or something? Do we know?
No, I don't see it anywhere in this piece.
That's okay. But I mean, a lot of, I'll say, .com companies, you know, all internet-based companies, they don't have the massive workforce that you think. For as big as their brand names get sometimes, they don't have huge workforces. That's kind of beside the point. So
yeah, OG and I have thought at some point here, we need to announce a 33% layoff on this show.
What the Joe? What the hell?
There he goes. He got it. He got it.
The wheel spun. The math kicked in.
I mean, yeah, I had to get my calculator out, but
back to this piece. Chief Executive Vlad Tedov publicly announced the layoffs last Tuesday in a blog post, acknowledging that his prior plan to let go at 9% of the Robinhood hood, as MarketWatch hilariously phrased it, while engaging in, quote, greater cost discipline announced in April, quote, did not go far enough. He said, since that time, we've seen additional deterioration of the macro environment with inflation at 40-year highs, accompanied by a broad crypto market crash, Tedov said. This has further reduced customer trading activity and assets under custody. It seems, OG, I want to start here, not with the layoffs. We definitely want to get to that. But the first thing is Robinhood announcing trading activity down a lot. It seems like when easy money is already being made by not trading, that's when people seem to trade a lot. And then the market goes down and the money gets difficult and you're losing money. All of a sudden the traders dry up.
And that's how they make their money. So it's like, if that's happening, there's not as much revenue, or as we like to call it, thievery from people's pockets.
Yeah.
Which is probably a good thing for most investors, frankly. Like, should have the inverse Robinhood trading investment plan. Like, when trading at Robinhood is really low, you should be buying a lot of stocks. When trading is really high, you should be selling a lot of stocks.
It is strange how that works when the money's already flowing in with an up market. Like, we ruin it by trading a ton. Yeah. And generally most traders get their butt kicked by the market. So why you play that game is beyond me, but it certainly felt like a casino there for a while. And obviously Robinhood got in trouble before making it seem even more like a casino, but still people losing their jobs, OG, not a good thing ever to see with any company. I see on here, they're talking about Coinbase also let some people go. Similar reasons, obviously, with Coinbase. But Shopify, and this one was a big wow, which was Shopify saw a big surge in activity of more and more people that were creating their online businesses because of COVID, right? I'm at home, might as well create this side hustle, this side business. Now they're seeing that abate some, and so Shopify's let some people go.
I think I saw the quote from their HR people or CEO or whatever that said, we bet heavily on the fact, I'm paraphrasing, we bet heavily on the fact that people weren't going to go back to the stores ever again. It's like, okay, I've heard that story before. What was that, okay, pets.com.
We got a pile of chips in front of us and we're putting it all on Black 17.
Yes. For the win. And not that the river's not headed that way. I mean, clearly, guys, the river is headed that way, right? That we're going into stores less and less.
No, for sure, but not zero.
Yeah, and not tomorrow. Yeah. It's going to take us a while to get there. Sad to see it. Somebody loses their job, OG, and they come see you. Well, I got this piece from CNBC's Make It, and I thought that we'd go over some of these, but I thought you could probably fill in some of this stuff. But the first thing I love, and this is why I picked this piece, we'll have it in the show notes at StackyBenjamins.com. But number one, and this surprised me in a good way, they say do nothing. The first thing to do when you get laid off is do nothing. Thought that's great advice.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think a lot of times it's like that. It's just like the investing piece we're talking about. I got to do something. It's like, well, just take a breath, just breathe. You've got a day. You don't have to do something today, maybe tomorrow, but today is
in a dark room with a case of beer and just do nothing.
Why me, Lord? Yes. Why me again?
Might not be what they were referring to.
No, definitely don't.
That is the best advice I've ever received.
If you feel like doing that, definitely don't do that. Go talk to somebody about that. You want to do that. Then you should do something. You should go talk to somebody and be like, I feel like sitting in a dark room with a case of beer. Like, oh, come over here. Let's chat.
When they dove into this, they said there's going to be quite a bit of legal information that'll be handed to you. So it's important to focus on understanding what's being offered and support packages. Understand your severance and career continuation. She adds that although being laid off is tough, it's important that you don't overreact and that you contain your emotions. I mean, how many times, I think, Doug, you told us a story one time about a guy that just, you had to let go, and it was a nightmare. His emotions were so far out of control.
Yeah. Yeah. It got physically violent. I've actually had that sort of thing happen a couple of times. But
I just wonder, is that them or is it you?
Is it the way I'm delivering the news?
The message or the messenger? Every time I fire somebody, they beat me up. I can't figure out why.
But everybody reacts differently. The other thing I'll say is, because I'm thinking of a time when I got laid off because we got acquired by a different company and they already had their own IT group and they didn't anyway. So HR will sit with you and they will pour so much information on you. You can't consume any of that. Like, you can't absorb it and understand it and remember it. So you're going to get a phone number in most cases. Make sure you call back, and because you will have forgotten a lot of benefits and or options you might have been afforded.
Yeah, they don't telegraph the fact that you're about to get let go. They don't go like, well, maybe tomorrow it'll be you. So you can kind of think about it, get your ducks in a row. They're just like, hey, before you head to lunch, why don't you come this way real quick? I want to talk to you.
Yeah, that happens more often than not. And they start going through, here's all the things you have access to. You have this, but your head is just spinning. You don't think it is, but trust me, your head is spinning when that happens. And you're not absorbing and remembering and retaining all of the things they're telling you. So make sure that you reach back out to probably either the resources that they're giving you or the HR professional that was probably in the room when they let you go, probably in the next, 2 days afterwards.
Just get back and find out what you might have missed when you were stunned.
Yes.
Which is another reason to do nothing. By the way, you were talking earlier, OG, about they don't telegraph that you're being downsized, but sometimes you can kind of see the writing on the wall, as is evidenced by this audio clip that we found.
And I said, I don't care if they lay me off either, because I told Bill that if they move my desk one more time, then I'm quitting. I'm going to quit. And I told Dom too, because they've moved my desk 4 times already this year, and I used to be over by the window and I could see the squirrels, and they were married, but then they switched from the swing line to the Boston stapler, but I kept my swing line stapler because it didn't.
So good.
How do you get to play that part, by the way? I want to have gotten to play that part, just being that guy from the movie Office Space there, by the way. My stapler.
And that's the vibe you generally give off anyways, Joe. So I think you would have done really well in that.
I got my, you moved my stapler impression down.
I can see the squirrels.
Number 2 on this list from CNBC is ask for recommendations. Most companies don't use written recommendations any longer. So specifically ask your current colleagues and manager for a LinkedIn recommendation. Let them know the specific skill sets you'd like them to speak out about and which skills you want to highlight for your next job. That's a great thing, I think, too. And then third, tap into your network. Although online networking is becoming popular, face-to-face networking still reigns supreme. However, LinkedIn, great for making that first connection. So when using LinkedIn, one expert that they reference here, Elaine Viralis, who is a managing partner, career transition and leadership development firm, Keystone Partners, says that you should look at a diverse group of people as well as employees with senior and junior level roles. And by the way, number 4 on this list, which is hugely important, and we've seen this go south for people, OG, clean up your social media page immediately. Like, clean it up, because if you're asking people for recommendations, first place they're going to look is your online profile. And if you've posted a bunch of incendiary stuff, time to delete all that.
What about beer bongs? Should I delete those?
Well, it depends on if it's a beer bong company you're going to work for. Like if it's Anheuser-Busch, they might be like, this guy's on board. Like, this guy,
subject matter expert.
he is clearly trying to work here. 5, develop a plan of action. And then 6, practice answering one interview question, which is this: why did you leave your previous job? Like, get a good answer down for why you left your previous job, because that will be the one they definitely ask. OG, when it comes to your personal finance, though, those are career pieces of advice from CNBC. Your pieces of advice with your money, what do we do there?
I think the first thing that you do, like we talked about, is kind of do nothing, but then you want to just take stock of like literally where you are. If you've done a good job and you've got cash reserve that's 2 or 3 months or 4 months of emergency money, then plot out your plan for how are you going to go find work and what's your drop dead time in terms of when you have to start moving money from the long-term bucket to the short-term bucket. And you think about that, 4, 5, 6 months ahead of time, rather than trying to, oh crap, the mortgage is due today. What stock am I going to sell? Type of thing. If you haven't built up your cash reserve yet, then I think it's a little bit more important to go find something or start working on what are you going to do for cash kind of immediately, and maybe that means you've got to move some money from long-term bucket to short-term bucket pretty quickly. That's why we talk about so much that the first step that you have to do is you have to have that cash reserve, because that gives you the flexibility when things don't go your way. And when things don't go your way, other things are also not going your way. When you get laid off, the stock market sucks. So you don't want to be forced to sell your stocks at the same time that you're getting laid off, because generally speaking, those things are bad at the same time. Otherwise, you'd probably still have the job because everything's great. So you've got to build it the right way from the beginning.
I'm reminded as you're talking, you and I have had pushback online from people about having that emergency fund because they say, hey, I can go to credit. I can sell my stocks. Well, stock market's down now. And when you've lost your job, I don't want to eat up my credit line when I have no job. Like if I have no way to get that money paid back every month, I mean, this is a dangerous time to use credit.
Well, and again, if you think about it from the perspective of, like what exactly makes your credit score the way it is, the highest component of your credit score is utilization. So if you go from not having any debt to now having credit card debt, that's going to drop your credit score very quickly. And when it drops your credit score very quickly, other companies are going to notice that, hey, wait a second, why is his credit score dropping so quickly? Maybe we're not so interested in participating in whatever is going on over there that is causing him to go from no debt to now $10,000 on the credit card. Then that's going to increase your interest rate. It's going to change your credit line. We had a credit card that I'd use fairly infrequently, but still kind of every so often, with a pretty large limit. I don't know, maybe $20,000 or $25,000 limit, and just unceremoniously canceled. And, good credit score, don't have any debt. So it wasn't like I was all of a sudden a major risk factor, but it just happened just quite randomly out of the blue. If you're relying on that to be your cash reserve, major problem.
Yeah, boy. We will link to these resources in our show notes page at stackingbenjamins.com. And of course, we're going to do a deeper dive into all of our favorite resources if you are laid off in our 201 newsletter, stackingbenjamins.com/201. Fantastic newsletter, comes out twice a week. Unsubscribe if you decide you don't want it. But man, it is fantastic. Just there's no commitment. You don't have to attend any meetings, right? You don't gotta, none of that. Oath. It just is it is a phenomenal open rate. I think our open rate of our email newsletter is higher than anybody I've talked to in the personal finance space. We're very proud of it. stackingbenjamins.com/201. And we're going to dive deep on that. Speaking of diving deeper, one thing we don't talk a lot about on this show is fashion. But if you're somebody that goes to the office or you're networking, speaking of networking in person, the way you look does matter. And looking like you take care of yourself proves to other people that you're going to take care of them. And our next guest is all about that. She fashions herself as a soul stylist, SOUL, believing that if you can change your look, that affects your soul. It affects the way people see you and the way that you see yourself. You saw her on the BBC network's Inside Beverly Hills. She's styled in Focus, Ventura Boulevard, Sherwood Life magazine. She also hosts on KTLA TV, Los Angeles segment, How to Be Your Own Personal Stylist. Today, she's going to be our personal stylist while she also tells us the story of growing up in a family that, this story is unbelievable. Jen Principe coming up next. But first, Doug, to get us there, let's do some trivia. How about that?
Hey there, Stackers. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. I know we're about to hear some fashion advice from Jen Principe, and I agree with her. Dressing better always improves your confidence. Not to steal our guest's thunder, but against what all the haters say, I think it shows a certain bravado when you wear a fanny pack. And man, you can always tell who's a real influencer when they're brave enough to go with the Velcro shoes. Those are some solid tips, right? Sadly, no one around here has had the confidence to follow me just yet, but they'll get there. They'll get there. My biggest secret, personally, that you might want to borrow is my InstaSlim men's compression tank top. It's a slimming body shaper shirt with abdomen control. It's a challenge looking the Doug part here when you eat as many corn dogs as I do. Thank God there's Spanx for men. And you don't have to spend a lot of money to be that fashionable either. There's always the thrift store. Speaking of thrift stores, who was the only artist in the last 20 years to have a #1 hit without being signed to a major label? I'll be back with the answer after I pop some tags.
In business, there is no room for guesswork. Every shipment matters. Every deadline counts. And when you're trying to keep operations running smoothly, The last thing you need is uncertainty. That's why reliability is at the core of USPS Ground Advantage. From the moment your package is first scanned in, it moves through a secure nationwide network, aiding in a timely and accurate delivery. You get near real-time tracking so you can keep up with your shipments. And with affordable upfront pricing, there are no hidden fees or surprise surcharges to throw off your cost sheets. It all adds up to predictable deliveries you can depend on, because knowing your logistics are handled lets you focus on everything else, your customers, your team, and the future you're building. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to start shipping with confidence. USPS Ground Advantage. We mean business. Becoming a member at Navy Federal Credit Union lets you experience more from everyday commutes to your next big vacation. The flagship credit card earns you 3 times the points on travel, so you can get rewarded for wherever you're headed next. You've heard me talk about this before. Don't play the reward game if you have an issue paying off your cards every month. Make sure you pay them off every month and then get 3 times the points. Why not? Plus, by the way, this premium travel card has a low annual fee of $49 and also 2 times the points on all purchases outside of travel, meaning the rewards don't have to end even when the vacation does. And speaking of rewards, you can get a Navy Federal auto loan when you need that new ride to get you to work and you can't afford to pay cash yet. Applying is easy. You can do it on their mobile app, online, or by phone, and it's so fast, you can get a decision in seconds. Navy Federal has great rates on auto loans, plus with their car buying service powered by TrueCar, you can do some shopping and hopefully mitigate the huge cost. Cars have gone up so much in cost, haven't they? You'll be able to shop, compare, and get upfront pricing on your next new or used car. Navy Federal, our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA, open to the armed forces, the DoD, veterans, and their families. Flagship rates are variable and range between 10.74% and 18% APR based on creditworthiness. ATM fees for cash advances are up to 1% at non-Navy Federal ATMs. Credit and collateral subject to approval. Message and data rates may apply. Visit NavyFederal.org for more information and to apply.
Hey there, stackers. I'm Nifty Thrifter and Thrifty Gifter, Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. According to BuildThatBeat.com, this artist managed to be number 1 without the financial backing of a label and before the age of 30. I hate you. So, who was the only artist in the last 20 years to have a number 1 hit without being signed to a major label? Macklemore, with help from Ryan Lewis. And now, let's say hello to fashion stylist for the stars, Jen Principe.
And my new friend, Jen Principe, is here. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for having me on your show. And thank you for reading my book.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. And it's funny because in your introduction, you talk about how, and it's almost a little defensive. And I think it's because you come across as this open, relaxed, fun person. And boy, after I read your book, Jen, there was a lot going on early in your life that was really surprising.
Yes, there really is. I've been given a lot of stories to tell. And I've been told all my life, Jen, you need to write a book. For years, I thought I was going to write a book about my upbringing, which obviously you read. It's very complex and a lot of trauma, etc. But, it just didn't feel right. And then when I got into my own career and I started really diving deep into the, probing the depths and examining the cracks down there, I definitely saw a common thread, which is the name of my book, of what I've been through, these stories, along with my journey in fashion and the life lessons that I've learned along the way. So it really made sense at this stage in my life to write the book.
And I think we all need to do that to some degree, right? I think diving in and making peace with what happened to us early on, I think is so important. And oh man, I'm going to want you to tell a few stories from the beginning of the book. But before we do that, I just want to talk about your career because I'm wondering, how does somebody become a stylist to the stars? Like, how does that even begin?
Yeah, for me, I can't speak for everybody because I don't know, other stylist journeys. And there's so many different facets of styling as well. But for me, it happened very organically. I have always had a passion for fashion ever since I was a little girl. I used fashion as a modality to hide. I used it when I was a teenager to define. And then as an adult, I used it as a healing modality for myself and for others. So I've always had this eye for fashion. I've been given a gift. I do believe I was given this gift to share. And so when I decided that I was going to launch after I had kids, because I was in the business world for a long time on Wall Street and doing something completely different, but always gravitated towards fashion. And so I ended up coming out, launching and saying, this is what I'm going to do. And it happened very organic. It was just word of mouth. I never had to advertise. And I think it's because I really love what I do. And I love making people feel confident and more self-assured. And whether you're a stay-at-home mom or you're a celebrity, there's always a shift and transformation when I'm working with somebody. So I think when you love what you do and then you have an element of service to that, I think you've sort of found your purpose and passion.
Boy, and it's funny, and you do a great job of going through exactly how fashion can really change your state, as people say, can change your mood, can change everything for you. But it wasn't always the case for you. I was reading your early stories growing up. Can you tell me the story with your dad and with your grandmother? Because and it's interesting. You opened the book with these stories about your grandmother, and I can just smell her house, Jen. Like your grandmother had the best smelling house that I've ever read.
Yes. It was a mixture of fish and old books, which doesn't sound great, but yeah. So it's funny. I wrote the book, and then my brothers read the book, and they were like, "Wow, Jen, it was like you brought me right back to Bubby's house." I come from trauma, and spent the weekends with my grandmother. And although her house was very creepy and weird, I felt very safe there because I didn't feel safe in the confines of my own homes. And my grandmother donated a lot of her time on the weekends to the Jewish Federation. And I would go there and I would rummage through clothes and I would play, I would escape. And I knew intrinsically at a very young age, like a lot of children do in role play, that we take on this persona of what we fantasize about. And so I would do that all the time. And I love to just kind of rummage and think about, hey, who used to wear this, which sort of led me into loving all things vintage. My father was supposed to be a 10th generation rabbi. My grandfather was the chief Orthodox rabbi of Los Angeles, it's very, very, very high up. But my upbringing was, I came from abuse and alcohol and really difficult. But when I was 13, 14, 15, I went through a really hard time. I got kicked out of school many times. I went through depression. But my father had come to me and he said, Jen, I was really in depression about my friendships. I didn't know how to navigate them. I didn't have the tools. And he said to me, Jen, you're not going to understand this today, but one day you will. Your friends are like clothes in your closet. And I kind of looked at him like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he said, listen, when you get older, honey, you're going to have business clothes that you put on and they make you feel ready for the world. You're going to feel powerful. And you're going to have sexy clothes that are going to make you feel like you've stepped into your femininity. And you're going to have classic clothes that it may take you decades or more. And you're going to have trendy clothes that serve a purpose, but they're going to come and they're going to go. And then you maybe will have one or two favorite sweatshirts in your life. You're lucky if you do. Those are the ones you put on. They make you feel like home. You can be most comfortable in. And, I took it in, but it wasn't until I matured and I realized that our friends are like clothes in our closet. Some metaphorically don't look good on us. We try them out, Some are classics. They last decades. I have a few lifelong sweatshirts that I will forever, hold on to. And so it was a profound analogy. It didn't come until I wrote the book, and it just seemed very apropos that would be the first chapter.
Well, very much. And I want to do what you did in the book because you go between these intensely personal stories and great fashion tips. And let's talk about that. You talk about the clothes in your closet. Right now, we're getting ready for fall. What are some of those basic things that I should have in my closet and I should really be thinking about?
Yeah, those are the classic pieces in your wardrobe and they're different for male and female. And I list the classics also. One of the interesting things about my book is I put a QR code in the book. I really felt like, hiring a stylist is a luxury expense and most people can't afford that. But I really wanted to be able to help the masses. So the QR code, you scan it and it leads you to my website, and I've done tutorials and I've linked below. These are the classics. These are the things you need to buy. But, for a classic, it's going to be a leather jacket. It's going to be the right length blazer, traditional button down loafers, etc. Statement pieces of jewelry, like this is a piece I always wear, a good pair of sunglasses, a good pair of eyeglasses. That's jewelry on the face. That's really important. That's the first thing people are going to notice about you. So I sort of list the classics, but outerwear, good outerwear pieces, great trench coat, a good basic cashmere coat, things that are going to last you decades or more, things that you can wear 10 years into the future and still look like you're in style.
Back when I was in television in Detroit, I worked with a stylist at the beginning, and it was amazing how some of these tips, Jen, that people like you and him, the stuff Ken could do with just a few pieces was incredible. And I'll give you an example. You talk about that blazer, just having a nice blazer and throwing it on over jeans and a t-shirt changes the jeans and a t-shirt from you don't care to you are purposefully dressing up, right?
Correct. And add a little pocket square in there.
Oh, yeah.
Nice pair of glasses. Yeah, I always recommend for a man, a navy. A navy suit is a dark navy because you can break up the suit. You can wear the jacket with jeans or a button down, and then you can wear it as a suit. I always say navy before black. Black's a little formal. I mean, there's so much you can do with just a capsule wardrobe.
Well, and I like the idea, too, that these are neutral colors. These are timeless colors, and then you add color to it depending on the season and the time, and you go over that once again in your tutorials. You also talk a lot about, and of course, this is a financial show, this doesn't have to cost a lot. You talked about vintage. Like, I feel like sometimes, Jen, you're teaching people to be the thrift store queen.
Yeah, I've been doing Target lately and TJ Maxx, because I do think you can find good staple basics at some of those. There's certain areas I would say do not scrimp on because you want them to hold up quality-wise, and those are outerwear and shoes and stuff like that. But, all those trendy pieces, you really don't need to spend a fortune to make yourself look great. And it's a mindset too, There have been so much studies done on the psychology behind colors and what that does to our mindset and shifting our mood. Just think about it as far as being a gray day outside. When it's gray outside, our mood gets a little drab and we get a little down. And then when the sun pops out, it's like all of a sudden it's energy. So there's some really great stories about color and the psychology behind color. So I'm a big proponent of adding color into your wardrobe, even if it's just a small amount. I also love the way color makes other people feel around you. There's, Lady in Red. They've done studies on women wearing red and how men are more attracted to women wearing red. And they've done lots of studies. And Krista Berg wrote a song, Lady in Red.
That popular old song that you'd hear at every wedding reception for like 25 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So color really can enhance our mood. And I experienced that during COVID. I got into a wardrobe rut and I would sit around in my workout clothes. And once a week I was like, I can't do this anymore. I got to get up and out. And I would get dressed. And what was amazing was not just how I felt, because I was, lifted. I felt my mood lift, but it was how others were responding to me. People that normally in the grocery store aren't very loquacious and don't say much were all of a sudden like, oh, it's so nice to see somebody dressed up in color, Yeah. My book is like playful.
Very colorful. Right.
Yeah,
Very colorful. And I do love the idea, you go to this outing with a few friends and just by dressing up a little bit more colorful, if you're meeting people for coffee, you're meeting people for lunch, you can change, to your point, you change the mood of the entire meeting. If you're going to an interview, it can change your career. It can really bring friendships together. I want to quote you because I want to talk about you transforming. And it starts off with this. This is a quote from you. You write, however, true transformation can't happen simply by changing your outfit alone. That requires deeper inner work. Clothes and fashion are just tools to help you improve your state of mind. But there's a fine line between allowing clothes to work with and for us and allowing clothes to define us. And I wanted to start there because when you were young, clothing did define you to the point that you were stealing clothes. I wasn't clear from the book if that was more, my life stinks so bad and I need some attention, or if it was clothing is going to define me and make my life better enough that I'm going to shoplift. What was it? Why did you find yourself stealing clothes?
I think the latter, probably the latter. I really didn't feel like I fit anywhere. I probably was calling out for attention as well because my upbringing was really complex and complicated and traumatic. But, as I was rebelling and I couldn't quite fit in, I felt a little bit like a chameleon, trying to fit in wherever I was bounced around to, because I got kicked out of school 4 times. We didn't have the financial means for me to dress in labels. And, even today, this is so sad. It's like social media is just a constant depiction of labels and finer things. And when you're a child and you're going through depression and, you're being physically abused and you're in that environment and you feel like the only way you're going to fit in is to have those cool clothes, because I didn't feel like I had anything else. I was willing to do anything to do that. And so I stole, and I thought that having the right labels would make me popular, which I'm sure kids go through today too. They just come from probably better family circumstances and know better than to do that.
Sure.
But, even so, without the stealing, I am really careful even today. I'm surrounded by the most coveted things in the world, from cars, because my husband's in the luxury car storage space. So I'm surrounded by the most beautiful, cars, to fashion, to jewelry, to bags. And you can really get sucked in. I do all the time, where I have to really check myself and say, what is this? Does this really bring real value to my life? Now, yes, clothes can make you happy and they can transform your mood. And I think it's important that we care about what we wear. But there is a real fine line about allowing clothes to define us and making us feel superior because we can afford or we have nice things, because that's not really important.
Boy, and you definitely define that. Just to give people an idea of, Jen, of your upbringing, your mom had to leave because your dad was having an affair with the housekeeper, who then became his mistress. And whenever you went to your grandmother's house, you had to lie about that relationship, which I can't imagine being your age at the time and having to live this lie half the time. And then your dad's having an affair behind her back with somebody else who's also living there. But what's sad is that leads to a bunch of stealing, not just you, then they're stealing from you. But this all ends in a story about a monk that I think is incredibly important, I think, because I feel like this is kind of where your center of gravity kind of comes from, is this experience with the monk that you had, that it felt like in the book, it really changed a lot of things for you.
It did change a lot of things for me. It's so interesting, because I was just talking about how if we just pay attention to the people that we meet, there are life lessons, so many of them along the way. And I've been really blessed with this gift to be able to see those things happen, throughout my life. And so, one of the things is, I stole as a child, as you know, and then I stopped stealing because of karma. And I felt like that was something I had to stop doing. And then things were stolen from me repeatedly throughout my life, even as an adult, which was crazy. Again, karma. So I always had this fear of people stealing either material things from me, my ideas, my husband, my housekeeper, like everything. I was always paranoid. And my husband and I were renewing our vows, and we had I had these bracelets made for my 2 boys and my husband, and we were in Aspen, and I started getting that old, feeling back of, somebody's gonna steal this and lock it in the safe. And I ended up stumbling into a museum, and I met a monk, and I was very intrigued with just his life, the fact that they've given up all of their material things, and they were making a mandala at the time, which I didn't even know what it was. It's a Sanskrit, and they're beautiful. And I watched for hours. And I ended up meeting this monk, Shenzu, and we had a conversation. We opened up about my fear, because at the time I knew like there was a calling. This book was the calling. I didn't know what it was, but I kept feeling a pull from the universe. I call it, a God shot. I kept feeling this, but I was really afraid to like step into myself. And he taught me about, and this is a constant thing. You don't learn this and then it's, I'm going to let go of attachments. This is something I work on every single day. I mean, even the book in itself, the book launched, and I had all these expectations, this book is going to launch and people are going to grab onto it and they're going to love it. And it's not going to happen like that, because I have to let go of the attachment of, where is this going to land? Who's going to love it? I have to know that, God has a plan for me, and it's going to land in all the right hands, and that I just needed to write the book and to be vulnerable, because we're all a part of this tapestry of mankind. And if I can share my vulnerability and my stories and, what I've been through, then that gives you the permission to say, hey, I stole too, or I did some things I'm not proud of. And, when we work through shame, like Brene Brown says, that's real courage. And so, Shenzu helped me see to let go of attachments. It's so interesting, because my son just called me the other day, and guess what? He lost the bracelet.
Oh,
He was in Mexico and he wore it in the ocean and it came off. And, normally I'd be like, oh my God, right? And it was like, that's cool. We got the memories. It's no biggie.
Yeah.
We'll make another one.
well, that's what you say about this Mancala that he's making takes forever. And you offer to buy it. And he says, no, we're going to destroy it. And I can just hear you going like, what? Like I hear almost a record scratch, like, what the hell are you talking about? You're going to destroy this.
It was incredible. They worked on this for like 5 days straight and it was huge and it's beautiful. And they use grated sand and it's meticulous. And they have to learn how to do this for years before they're even allowed to make this mandala. And then to destroy it. But watching that process and understanding of letting go of attachments for me was like watching that fear sort of dissipate in that moment for me. It was really, really beautiful.
How did you learn to start trusting people after all the stuff that happened, all the stealing that happened early on? Did you feel like there was a turning point or a low point in your life, Jen, where things changed?
No, my pistanthrophobia, fear of trusting people, is alive and well. I still don't trust people. I still don't. I wish that I could say that I do, but I don't. There's always something in the back of me that's fearful. And I don't know if, some wounds can be reduced to a manageable size. I don't know if they fully go away. And I don't know if I'll ever trust anybody again, sadly.
I think it's incredibly brave of you to talk about this. And I know that there's lots of people that listen to shows like ours and they think that people like you are just magical and everything's perfect. And the fact that you were able to dig deep and tell this and at the same time, help us look better and feel better at the same time without getting attached to it is fantastic. The book is called A Common Thread, Fashion for the Soul, and it is available everywhere, I assume.
It's available on Amazon. You can buy it at Barnes & Noble online. I also have an Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram at Jen Principe Styles.
Yeah, and you know what? We're going to link to that because you give tips on Instagram, and we'll link to that in our show notes page at stackingbenjamins.com. I would be remiss. I got one more thing for you.
Yeah, I want to talk about my nonprofit.
That's exactly what I was bringing up. I'm so glad we're on the same page. Yes, part of this is helping. Talk about your nonprofit for a second because this is so badass.
I love it. This is why I'm here. I mean, the book and the nonprofit are really, I think, why I'm here. 20% of the proceeds will go towards my nonprofit. It's called The Phoenix Effect, and it's about the story, metaphorically, of the phoenix that dives into the fire to be reborn. So about 8-9 years ago, I decided that I would take my God-given gift and I would be of service to those that suffer from life-debilitating diseases and trauma. And so I have a team, and we go in and we curate a photo shoot, sometimes at the tail end of people's lives, sometimes as they're just coming out of illness and getting better. And my job really is to introduce fashion, wardrobe, hair, makeup, and give them a day just to feel pampered and beautiful so that they can sort of come out of that illness, a newer version of themselves. And so it's called The Phoenix Effect. And I'm doing another one in like a couple of weeks. We're doing a foster child that's been in and out of foster care. Actually, somebody I wasn't in foster care, but somebody I can kind of relate to because she was abused as well. So when you can combine your passion with service, I do believe you found your purpose. And so that's my purpose.
That's fabulous. Jen, thanks so much for hanging out with us for a few minutes. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really had a great time.
I'm Andy Dwyer, and when I'm not pulling suckers off my tomato plants in my garden, I'm stacking Benjamins.
Big thanks to Jen for stopping by and being brave enough to tell that story. OG, clearly a house when your relatives are stealing from you, when there's physical abuse, and you still end up with the type of career she had. I think it just is proof for all of us that you can do this. You can survive. You can do it.
Superstar status.
At what age, OG, did you realize that dressing more smartly, dressing smarter, dressing snappier was a key to success? Because I can think of mine like now.
He says as he looks across the table and sees me in a Travis Matthew t-shirt
right.
and gym shorts. When did you learn not to do this? Because you used to have suits and ties, I know.
I'm in a marathon shirt of a marathon I ran like 8 years ago. So, yeah.
I was just hoping you would green screen yourself and all we would see would be your head.
Would be
honestly.
Me. Yeah. In this neon green shirt. Yeah.
Just a head. I always was in charge of buying my own clothes when I was a kid because I had a job when I was 11. So anything I wanted beyond the family approved budget of my allotment of 2 pairs of JCPenney jeans and 2 shirts, for school, I had to do on my own. So I was buying my own clothes when I was a kid, mostly because I wanted to be, have the cool shoes or the Air Jordans or whatever, right? I had to, my dad, there's no way my dad was going to buy that crap. So I don't know if that's dressing smart, so to speak, or paying attention, but I did pay attention as early as high school. It wasn't until, I started working at American Express where, I got a couple suits, and I distinctly remember sitting in a meeting. I was brand new. I was sitting in a meeting with the training person and another training person, and he were talking almost like I wasn't in the room because I was new, and that's how they treated you. And I was just kind of sitting there, and they're talking, and they were talking about clothes, and I kind of wanted to wedge myself in there because I had this nice suit on, and they're talking about their clothier person, their haberdasher, and they said something like, like, at least we don't have any of those like Hagar wrinkle freeze or something. And I was like, and I just kind of cowered because I know on the inside label of my suit, it definitely said Hagar wrinkle free. Because I was like, that's smart. Get a suit that doesn't wrinkle. Why wouldn't you get that if you're at JCPenney's? It's $199 or whatever it was. So I don't know if that's smart or snobbery at that point where I finally realized that Hagar wrinkle freeze maybe weren't the pinnacle of the Savile Row, suit manufacturing place. They're like, well, sir, right here in this haberdashery, sir, we have Hagar wrinkle freeze. It's like, okay.
Well, I sat in an office all day as a new advisor like you, and I went to Payless Shoes because why spend a ton of money on shoes if I'm just in this office? So my suit was middle of the road, was okay, but I wore these shoes that I'm like, I don't want to keep shining my shoes. So I had those ones with the plastic shine on it, right? The like pre-plastic shine. Yes. And I remember I got a big paycheck and I went and I bought some nice Florsheim shoes and shined them up. And I'm walking down the hall, the very first day I had my new shoes, and 3 people said, "Oh, I'm so glad you got rid of those plastic shoes." Like nobody tells you when you look like crap. Everybody tells you after, right? Afterwards, like, "Oh, love those shoes. Right. Those other shoes you had sucked." So yeah, you think people aren't looking, but they truly are.
What's the part of your attire that people will notice the most, do you think?
I don't know. We didn't go there.
Well, they say women notice shoes immediately, that's the first thing that they spot.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe that's true for everybody, but I've heard that women spot shoes.
The back
it's
of
true
your
for
shoes.
Hannibal Lecter. It was true for Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah. Yeah. The back of your shoes. Yep.
The back.
Yeah.
The scuffs on the back.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So pay attention. Don't just make the tops all shiny.
And you know what's funny? I learned all that in military school, and then I promptly forgot it when I got into the working world. And then I had to remember that.
Yeah.
But who just shines the front of their shoes? If you're going to sit down and make your shoes look better, you do the whole damn shoe.
I hear you. But if you were going to skip a part, you might skip the back.
Don't skip that. Yes. It can't be just business in the front and party in the back when it comes to your shoes. It can't be. Got to get the whole shoe up to business. Hey, let's throw out the Haven Lifeline and tackle some of life's most important questions. Our friends at Haven Life Insurance Agency, OG, they put what you value first.
I've been trying these new cocoa espresso pods with a little latte. It's like a cocoa latte. That's
what you value most?
The most.
Whole latte cocoa? It's that little joy in life on a random Wednesday, right? That just makes the spark. Well, that's why they made buying quality term life insurance actually simple, so you can spend more time with your cocoa latte. Head to stackingbenjamins.com/havenlife now. You'll get a free quote. Their application is simple. It's online. You'll get an instant coverage decision, affordable prices, and all policies issued by their parent company, Mass Mutual, which is more than 160 years old. Today, we're going to say hello to Joe. Hey, Joe.
Hey, guys. Got a quick one for you. I'm a landscaper and a contractor with some rental properties. I'm just wondering what you would take into account when I'm trying to move from 2 trucks to 1 truck. One's currently owned by my business and one's mine personally. Got 2 little kids, so it needs to have a full cab. Looking at the tax incentives, looking at the depreciation, mileage, all these types of things. Any insight would help. Hey, Dougie, I got your t-shirt.
It's the worst caller we've ever had. I hate this guy.
We have to make that a clip, OG. That's got to be a clip. Hey, Dougie.
Hey, Dougie, got your t-shirt.
We are sending it out to you, Joe. We're sending it out to you. But this is interesting, OG. He needs a work truck, but also something for the family. So this church and state, right? I mean, you've got these business write-offs that you can do with your work truck, can't do with a home thing. What are some things you should be thinking about?
Is he going from 2 to 1? Is that what he's doing? He's downsizing?
He is. He's going from 2 to 1. Yeah.
2 to 1. Yeah. If you use it for work, or a significant amount of your time is for work, and you got to talk to your CPA about this, you can, write off a number of things. You can depreciate it. You can expense the mileage and that sort of thing, but you have to have really good records all the time. You can't just kind of sort of be like, pretty sure I drove it a lot for work this year, so give me some money. Really good records all the time. There's a great app for that. It's called Mile IQ. You can also do it in QuickBooks. It's just kind of a background app that keeps track of every time you drive. The downside is that it requires some pretty good maintenance to like keep up with it. Because if you take Ubers or public transportation or something like that, it'll be like, hey, you drove from this place to this place. And it's like, oh yeah, shoot, that was on a bus. You have to delete it, that sort of thing. But it'll help keep track of it. If you were looking at just what's good for the family and that sort of thing, I think honestly in today's day and age, you're going to be lucky to find whatever it is that you're going to find. I had my car in for service the other day, and I noticed that there was probably, I would bet, less than 50 brand new cars on the lot. Maybe it was less than 30.
Yeah.
Still well behind the curve in terms of supply chain right now.
Car lots right now looking like empty parking lots, like store empty parking lots.
Yeah.
And if you get out of major cities and get to more rural areas, or like where I am, there are no new cars. The whole, where their marquee spots are along the road, it's all used vehicles, especially the trucks. Yeah. They're all used.
And I guess my question would be, why are you, I mean, when he says new, he might not mean new. He might mean new to him.
New to him. But still, used car people know what they've got now, OG. I mean, used car people totally know what they got. The price of used cars now is all jacked up. If you got a used car, notch that price up because people are going to pay it.
Yeah. Which is kind of what I'm thinking here. If you've got 2 and I don't know, maybe one of them works for the family and for the job, why not sell the other one, take advantage of the high used car prices right now? You'll get a good sale price and just kind of bank that money. Wait until that inventory comes back a little bit. If you can make do, if you can't, you're like, I'm going from no kids to 2 kids. I need space, that sort of thing. That's a different deal. But I would say if you can make it work, now is not the time you want to be buying brand new cars.
Yeah.
Or used cars, any cars for that matter. You want to be selling cars right now if you can do it. And if you got 2 and you're trying to get to 1, I maybe try to figure out how to keep the one that makes the most sense in the family and then offload the other one, make a few bucks.
And I'm thinking, Joe, if you've got a nice bicycle, sell them both. Just bike everywhere because you'll make a ton of money. No?
That might be a little bit restrictive on his landscaping business.
Maybe a little far. Well, you've seen those little wagons you can carry behind it. I mean, think of what his calves are going to look like after this. Good workout. Let the kids pedal from time to time. No.
Why does anybody call in looking for our advice?
I don't know. I think OG gave him fantastic advice.
Then you and I open our mouths and we screw it all up.
There it went. Yeah. I mean, what's the chance, OG, that this is not a bubble in the car market? That this is just the reality going forward forever?
Yeah, it's just there's no more new cars ever. Like, what's the chances of that? I mean, you've seen the aerial photos of, in particular, it's Fords, where they've got, like up to a bajillion thousands of cars waiting on semiconductor chips. You know what I mean? So I bought a car a year ago and they just installed the chip that was supposed to be in it from when they, built the car last March. So, I mean, it's happening, they're getting to it, but it's a ways away. So if you can avoid spending money on cars right now, you're probably going to be pretty happy.
Thanks for the question, Joe. Hey, if you've got a question for us and you want to wave your t-shirt in Doug's face, head to stackingbenjamins.com/voicemail And you too can get the Haven Life shirt. That's not the reason to call in. We just like to say thank you for being brave enough to call in. And
seemed like it was Joe's only reason for calling in. I think that was a BS question.
I think that was a great question, man. It was a fantastic question.
I mean, my guess is he's already figured that out. He didn't really need our answer than that to that. He just wants a shirt.
That's it.
The double tall
and he doesn't
boys.
even care about the shirt. That's exactly what he wanted. Yeah. StackingBenjamins.com/voicemail to get there. All right. Let's talk about the community and things going on. Joe, obviously a great member of our community, calling in and helping us make this show. You can hang out with us later on today at 5 p.m. Eastern. I will be on Instagram, and a lot of times we'll have a fintech creator talking about some of the new cool apps on your phone or on your computer. We'll also talk about some headlines that are up to the moment, and we weren't able to put it on the show. And we also just kind of hang out and talk to stackers. So if you want to hang out, then that's great. Also, with the 201, if you're somebody who's referred other people to 201, you know that we have a referral program, and people in the 201 about halfway down to sign up for the referral program. You'll see all about that. But for referrers that met the qualifications, we're doing a happy hour on Friday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific. I love the people who are going to do happy hour with us at 12:30 p.m. Pacific. That's going to be fantastic.
They're gamers.
So, referrers happy hour on Friday. Hope you can join us. And of course, last but not least, if you're not here for happy hour, you're not here to watch Doug get frustrated as another person goes home with a t-shirt. You're here because recession fears are ramping up. And if you're feeling anxious about making moves with your finances, what I'd like you to do instead is check out this free guide OG and his team put together that'll help you plan more and panic less. No matter what the market does, it's got some great insights on what you should be doing and smart questions to ask yourself so that you make financial decisions your future self is going to thank you for. Head over to stackingbenjamins.com/guide and you'll get that free guide from OG. Thanks, OG. That's going to do it for today. Doug, you got it from here, man. What should we have learned today?
Well, Joe, first, even the people who look perfect don't necessarily have the perfect life or come from perfect circumstances. If they can do it, you can too, no matter how rough life has been up until now. Second, fashion is about expressing who you are on the inside, outside. It doesn't necessarily have to cost you a lot to do it either. Start with the basics and you'll both look and feel like $1 million. But the big lesson? These Velcro shoes are coming back in style, damn it, if it's the last thing I do. Joe, take my pic for Instagram. This'll get it going. Thanks to Jen Principe for joining us today. Follow her and learn about her styling services at jpstyles.com. This show is the property of SB Podcasts, LLC, copyright 2022, and is created by Joe Saul-Sehy. The show is written by the brilliant Paulette Perhatch with help from Joe, me, and Doc G from the Earn and Invest podcast. Brooke Miller is our producer today and our amazing newsletter editor of the 201. You'll find the 411 on all things money at the 201. Just go to stackingbenjamins.com/201. Once we bottle up all this goodness, we ship it to our engineer, the amazing Steve Stewart. Steve helps the rest of our team sound nearly as good as I do right now. Want to chat with friends about the show later? Mom's friend Gertrude is our social media coordinator and the room mother in our Facebook group called The Basement. So, say hello when you see us posting online. Here's a weird fact. Both she and Tina Eichenberg are never in the same room at the same time. To join all the basement fun with other stackers, type stackingbenjamins.com/basement. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and we'll see you next time back here at the Stacking Benjamin Show. Not only should you not take advice from these dorks, don't take advice from people you don't know. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, speak with a real financial advisor.
Welcome to the after show. This is the part of the show that doesn't exist. Speaking of community, we often have people say hello to us on Twitter, and OG, you and I had listener Corey who said not only hello, he pointed out a piece that hit the internets hard last week. This is from Bloomberg. Ashley Carmen wrote it. People will confess all sorts of things to podcasters, from their unpopular political beliefs or embarrassing romantic mishaps to their worst fears. But there's one revelation certain guests will never disclose, namely that they're paying thousands of dollars just to be interviewed on the show. And so Corey wrote, he's like, well, clearly Joe and OG are mopping up with all the great guests that we have. So I want to chat a little bit about making the show, because OG, this has been a thing for some time. And I've seen podcasters go, no. We are going to, we're going to charge for you to come on our show. And if you want to be on our show in front of our audience, you have to pay me some money.
Huh.
Yeah. I took some advice from Jordan Harbinger a long time ago. Of course, Jordan is a guy that I've said over and over is a friend of ours. He's even advertised his award-winning show on our show. But Jordan's been a huge mentor of mine, and a piece of advice Jordan gave to me that I will give to other podcasters right now is this: the only person you owe anything to in this podcasting business is the person who is listening to you. So selling your audience is bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. And if I put my audience member up for sale, it just ruins this whole relationship that I feel like we have with our audience. And I don't know. It's a trend that even when it started, I remember being in one of these senseless fights on the internet about really, we're going to now charge people to be on the show. We're going to have guests on that we believe in and that we like, and we think that you should listen to. So, yeah. What'd you think about that when you read it, Doug? Because this morning you also sent it to us. You didn't know that Corey had already sent it to us yesterday, but you sent it to us. What did you think? Did you think, hey, we're missing out on an opportunity?
Yeah, I did. I actually thought we're missing out on this. I think there's a way to do it. I'm not being funny either. I think we could be missing out on something. I mean, every podcaster, unless you're Joe Rogan or Adam Carolla, every podcaster is, operating on a shoestring budget. And I think there's a way to do it and still maintain some objectivity. If we want to keep on producing the podcasting community, if you want to keep creating high quality shows, it might not be bad to find another revenue stream. I mean, news organizations do it right now. I mean, forever they didn't pay for content, but they pay a little bit for content. Not every time, not every story, but they'll pay for footage, video footage, or they will pay for some stories occasionally. So it's not like nobody else, that news organizations are completely objective and impartial.
There was somebody in the article that basically said, and I don't remember who it was, but basically said that they charged something. I don't remember the dollar amount. It was, the headline is $50,000. It was some number less than that, $1,000 or something.
$100 per 1,000 listeners.
No. This was a one-time deal. But anyways, it was a couple $1,000 that this person said that they charged. And the rationale that they had was the person shows up on time and the person is prepared.
Yep.
And they're really providing a lot of value because they paid to do it.
Yeah, but I'll tell you how that works for us. If we have a quality product with a sizable audience, they're gonna show up. Like our guests show up. Like, we don't get stood up. We don't have guests that aren't prepared, but they know that it's because we have a quality product and a sizable audience that they want to be in front of. Like they do. Like if I've got a small piece of,
which kind of sort of supports Doug's argument, right? It's like, if we have all of those things, then gimme.
I don't want to, if I listen to a podcast and it is not fully disclosed that this is an affiliate link or this is a payola thing, and this person paid to be in front of the audience, I would be pissed. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I'd be so pissed if I'm like, these money grubbing a-holes are taking cash for this instead of doing what they had a promise. I feel like our only pact is with the stackers out there. And I think there's plenty of other income streams. There's plenty of other
income streams.
Problem
is that we're going to have after we're done recording, we're going to have to talk to Doug about the fact that we've been making him pay.
Well, no, we'll just talk to him about that 33% layoff.
I think a couple of things are just kind of 3, 2, 1, 4, 5, 6. Never done that before, but that worked pretty good. I got smirks out of both of you guys. So
It's clever.
Once in a lifetime.
7, 8, 9.
it would have been better if I went backwards. 6, 5, 4.
10, 11, 12.
Oh my God, say something.
3, 2. 42.
Hi.
Say Omaha.
Blue 19. Omaha.
Say Omaha.
Omaha San Hut.